never rests.
Careless in the sky. What a thrilling time to be alive.
What is up, everybody? This is the Georgia Show. It is a post-game show, instant reaction. Georgia comes into Austin as an underdog. It's going to leave with a 30-15 win, dominant defense, shaky offense that came up with an 89-yard drive when it absolutely had to have one. Georgia made a lot of mistakes. It forced a lot of mistakes. And, Rusty, what you end up with is a 15-point win when you were an underdog for the first time in 50 games.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to unfold here, but the bottom line, Georgia went on the road and beat the number one team in the country in a game that nobody publicly gave them, a chance today. I watched every show. You guys watched every show. I heard a guy on Atlanta radio this week said Georgia's got no business being in the same ring basically with Texas. And, we talked about it yesterday, Jake. This is a very prideful team. And, I changed my pick yesterday because I thought, man, this is setting up just right for Georgia. Like, this is a damn good team, man. And I don't know that Texas has played anybody, to be honest with you. I didn't know enough about Texas, but I knew enough about Georgia, and I knew enough about the history of Georgia. And, man, what a win for Georgia. We're going to talk about some of these calls and some of that stuff, but the bottom line is that is a huge, huge, huge deal for the entire season for Georgia, because now Georgia has a win on the road at Texas, who was ranked number one at the time. They have a big win over Clemson, who's likely going to have a chance to win the ACC. Georgia took a few steps forward tonight and solidifying themselves in one of those 12 playoff spots. It's not done, but that's a huge check mark on their resume tonight.
There's no doubt about it. And, Rusty, as always, the postgame show is brought to you by Bulldog Snacks, the official snack of UGA and the Classic City Collective. When you purchase from Bulldog Snacks, a portion of the proceeds goes to support Georgia student athletes and the Classic City Collective so that they can support the student athletes. The cookies are awesome. The bars are great. And these guys do a tremendous job. They are a big-time partner of ours, and we appreciate them. Listen, go in here.
Halftime regroup.
Sorry, Steve Sarkisian is now speaking. It's going to be kind of tough for you guys to hear me. I wasn't expecting this, but
I tell you what, Jake, let me take over. Are you done with the read there?
Absolutely.
You want you mute, and I'll take over just for a second if you want to.
All right, cool.
Let's let you do that, guys. I'm going to take over just for a second. So I know Jake's in there. Jake's in Austin. Jake is in Austin. He told me that he's barbecued out. So I will hear more about that. Guys, I want to talk about this. I want to say this right now, and I want to be real clear on this. I've never in my life seen a non-reviewable call get changed on the field. And here's the bottom line on that. Okay, I'm going to speak on this, and we're going to go on another subject. But here's what I'm going to say right now. They made the call on the field as pass interference, and they spotted the ball, and Georgia's going to the play. It doesn't matter if it's right or wrong. That is a judgment call. And that official made the call on the field, and that is 1,000% the rule interpretation there. They basically made a policy change in the middle of the game because you do not review that. The student section was throwing cans on the field. It enabled the game to be delayed for 7.5 minutes. During that 7.5 minutes, you have referees standing in the middle of the field. And oh, by the way, every referee has an earpiece. So if you don't think somebody from up top called down and said, guys, y'all missed this call, and they changed that call, it's not whether it was right or wrong on a pass interference, because it was not pass interference, in my opinion. It was not, but it doesn't matter because the call was made. It was a judgment call, and that's how the rule has been forever, all time. And they made a change in the middle of a game on a non-reviewable call. If I'm Kirby Smart, I am all over the SEC office tomorrow and Monday. I need an explanation on how that was changed. They didn't even go really talk to him. Never seen anything like that. The targeting calls are crazy. That's another whole subject, and all that's subjective, and that's a different deal. But the changing a non-reviewable call is absolutely shocked me. Never seen anything like that in my life. Didn't even know how to explain that. So to me, if I'm Kirby, and you saw Kirby Smart to the game, and I put this on the Dawgs HQ message board, I've never seen Kirby Smart take that tone. I have never, ever seen Kirby Smart take that tone in an immediate press conference. You heard the first thing he said, and he told that young lady that everybody on your entire network picked against us. Nobody believed all week long. I told Jake, we said this last week on the Georgia show. We said it right here on the Georgia show last week. Jake and I both did. Said all week you're going to hear media talking about Texas, 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 Texas. And our stance was the same as Jake's stance was, period. We don't know enough about Texas because Michigan, and once Oklahoma got throttled today by South Carolina, I felt even better about Georgia. But a couple of things I want to talk about real quick. And again, Jake is in Austin right now. We got him on mute because Steve Sarkeesian is talking in the background, and it's loud in there. So just a second, we'll bring Jake in. So I'm going to finish a couple of my thoughts here. Thank you guys for joining us late tonight. I see the guys commenting about the comments about the targeting stuff. And guys, to be honest with you, I didn't think that Dan Jackson was. I thought that KJ Bolden was probably more targeting than anything. Jake, I didn't know if you saw that, but I thought that might have been more targeting than the Dan Jackson. I mean, the Jonel Aguero. Oh, by the way, I made our notes on the board just now. I thought Jonel Aguero played the best game he's played as a Georgia Bulldog, man. He was in coverage. He was tackling. Jalen Walker played fantastic. Mykel Williams, you see what the difference with Mykel Williams. When you have Mykel Williams, think about this, guys. Georgia goes in a 4-down front with Mykel Williams. They have Jalen Walker and they have Damon Wilson right there. That's 3 5-star guys. That's 3 kids that were 5 stars in high school that have been banged up at times. They're 2 or 3 different classes. They finally got those guys on the field, and they got after Texas, man. They had Quinn Ewers. I mean, he must have thought 13 or 14 players on the field at times. So shout out to the defense, man. The offense at times did some things. Carson Beck had a couple throws. And I'll say this, and Jake, I can't wait to hear your opinion on this. But, a couple early drops for Carson Beck, man. And you get out of rhythm and those type of things. Carson Beck made 2 throws that were as bad as you ever see him make, man. It just sometimes just head scratchers. Then he turns right back around. He'll make some great throws. When you go back and watch this game, I want you to watch that 3rd and 16 to Arian Smith. And on the next play, they run the bootleg they run the fake play to Oscar Delp up the seam, which was a great play. Late tight end release. I love the delayed tight end release play design. They sent Oscar Delp up the seam, and Georgia scores 3 plays later. They're 3rd and 16 on that play. He fits it in there to Arian Smith. And, Carson Beck's got to get more consistent. There's no question about it. But I don't think it's all on him. He didn't have his best night, but he had a damn good night when he needed to. And that 3rd down scramble put that game away. So, Jake, I don't know if it's getting better for you. Jake may have had to check out right there and come back in.
No, I was actually trying to unmute. I can hear fairly well.
Okay, good. Let's let you get in a little bit.
Rusty, going to the call, obviously that was odd. That was really strange. It was I couldn't believe what happened, and the way it set this place off was unbelievable. The jolt of energy this play got after that, and that was a bad decision, and there was some physicality at the top of it. But ultimately, I think the right call was made, and I'm glad we're in hindsight probably. I'm glad we're sitting here talking about this, and that didn't really impact the game. That specific play, the bad call didn't impact the game. I'll say this though, when you start talking about the play of Carson Beck, I don't think anybody did him a whole lot of favors tonight. He didn't do himself any favors, and he played poorly. But you had drop passes, and I thought that putting the ball in his hands as much as they were with the empty sets and the no run options and all that stuff, I felt like that was putting him in a tough spot, and it wasn't working. I don't know where the run game went. I felt like maybe should have used Trevor Etienne there for a little bit more. I mean, listen, there are a ton of things you pull for this game, and I don't even know that Georgia played all that great, especially on offense. But you come in and you beat the number 1 team in the country in the environment we experienced here tonight, which was absolutely electric. Especially once it was funny. It was almost like Georgia got itself into a snake pit there, Rusty, by taking the crowd out of it and then letting them back in. It was almost like that was worse than it was when the game started, and that was a big time problem. But the way Georgia weathered that storm, I said on our board, Rusty, and I'd like to get your thoughts on this. I sat on our board when Georgia had the ball after the second Texas touchdown. I said, if Georgia can turn this momentum around, it'll be one of the most important. It'll be one of the most impressive things I've ever seen, because that's how bananas it kind of was in here. And the way Georgia, I mean, you get Arian Smith for 21 yards, you get Oscar Bell for 43 yards. Carson Beck keeps a zone read down to like the 1 yard line. And then there you are, punching it in. You get it in on fourth down. I thought you got it in 2 plays earlier than that. But just a tremendous response there to the 89-yard drive when they had to have it. Yeah. And that's the kind of that's the Carson Beck they need more of. And listen, he's not going anywhere, folks. I know folks are upset with him today. Again, third multi-interception game in the past 4 games. But you got to hang in there with him. Good ones have these stretches. And he's Georgia's quarterback, and he made enough plays tonight, and Georgia lived to tell about his mistakes.
Texas 2 for 14 on third down, which I thought was a great. It shows you Georgia's getting them off the field. Let me look at a couple of stats right here that kind of stand out to me. Georgia 4 for 5 in the red zone. I mean, it was really kind of close. Time possession 30 minutes to 29. Georgia ran 71 plays. Texas ran 76 plays. Georgia had 283 total yards. Texas had 259 total yards. Here's the difference, I think. Georgia held Texas to 29 yards rushing. 29 yards rushing. You know what? And credit to that on the box. But I tell you, man, to see Damon Wilson, Mike Bell Williams, and Jalen Walker all in those rush packages, I mean, that's got to excite you for Georgia. Somebody just asked me in the comments, Jake, make sure I'm right on this. Dan Jackson and Jonel Aguero both will have to miss the first half against Florida, correct? Yep. And somebody
that's
said,
right. Yeah.
Yeah, somebody feel it. It's going to happen. That's not going to happen. So they don't. You don't win.
Yeah. That's a set rule. That's what's going to happen. Rusty, I got another one for you. I asked myself coming in this week. Listen, Georgia. When's the last time Georgia played tackles as good as the ones that Texas has? I'm blown away, Rusty. 7 sacks. 7 sacks, 10 tackles for a loss. The guys you mentioned combined for 6 of them. Jalen Walker had 4 quarterback hurries in addition to the 3 sacks. 8 tackles, led the team. He had a kind of Jarvis Jones against Florida type effort tonight.
You know who played good tonight was Raylan Wilson and C.J. Allen, the 2 inside backers. They made some plays, especially in space where they tried to get them one-on-ones. I'll talk about this a little bit on Dawgs HQ, but Georgia felt like Trevor Etienne versus the Texas linebackers, and Georgia was trying to take the middle of the field a little bit against those safeties. I tell you what, man, Dalen Everett. There's always a game now. Dalen Everett played a game for Georgia. He gave up a deep ball there early, comes back in with an interception, comes back in with a sack. For a blitz, he jumped that route on interception, comes in and gets a strip sack on a hot blitz, almost like that play Eric Stokes come off against Tennessee that night up in Knoxville from the blind side, knocks the ball loose. I think Christian Miller played good once we start and go back and look at the tape, but there's a lot to digest here, man. There's a lot going on with this game, but the bottom line is to go beat number 1, but the bottom line there is to add this game to your resume, because now these games become so much more important. And Jake, I'm going to tell you, I'm not predicting an upset. I'm not predicting a win, but Texas is going to Vanderbilt next week. And crazy as that sounds, I mean, they give you fits and you're going to be banged up. Everybody says after you play Georgia, you're banged up. And, they're going to go up there next week and they're going to have their hands full. So I'm interested to see how they rebound. I say this too, you can't judge Arch Manning off tonight. I know he's an athletic guy, but he's never in his life seen anything like that. Like, he's never seen that type of defense in his young career. I know this guy's going to be uber talented. He's going to be a super player, and Georgia's likely going to face him in Sanford Stadium next year when they roll into town. So if they don't wind up playing Texas again this year. But, dude, he had the look in his eye like, I'm trying to get rid of this ball or I'm trying to run, because the very first play of the game, Glenn Schumann. And oh, by the way, folks, I don't know if maybe it ain't out there, but his social media, he does. Glenn Schumann had his third child this week. And congratulations to him and his family. And he had a social media video where his two kids were meeting there. Glenn Schumann only missed, I think, a Thursday morning meeting. He was there for the delivery of his baby, and he was there when his kids met their new sibling, and he spent some time with his wife and kids. And well, I understand he missed a little bit of work, and you talking about somebody who was dialed in this week. He had a great game plan, and he also became a dad again. So congratulations to Glenn Schumann and his family. And that had to be a special week for him. And talking about a good time to have a bye week. You can go home and be with your family and be with your newborn. But man, what a dang week for Glenn Schumann and his family. I did speak about the call being reversed, guys. I know y'all are jumping in. Jeff White, I hope that's one of my my high school teammates there. I hope that is. The deal with that, I don't understand it. I've never seen that in my life. And here's the problem too with that. The SEC office, Jake, you can nod. They don't release any type of public statement on a call like that. They're not going to go in there. See, and that's the problem with that to me. There's no transparency with that. Kirby Smart in Georgia is going to ask for a review. They're going to ask for a response, but the SEC media office does not. The SEC office does not release their statement on that. But I've never in my life seen a non-reviewable call ever. A non-reviewable call ever change like that. And I made a tweet and it went viral already. And I'm dead serious with that. And I hope it doesn't take off. But I mean, every student section in America saw that. And they helped their team get a call change because it gave them delay. So just a bad deal on that whole situation. And I think you're going to have to do something, because that was one of the wildest things I've ever seen in all my years of football. I've never seen a non-reviewable call changed 7 minutes after it was actually made. 7 real minutes after it was made.
Sorry, you mentioned all the goals.
That's absolutely a tough precedent to set now too. And you really do hope it doesn't go forward like you
I
talked
don't
about.
think somebody. These are young kids, man. And I don't think they didn't see to that. That helped Texas 100%. That helped them change that call with that delay. If you're going to make that call, you should have at least thrown a penalty on Texas for that and move the ball back. Give them possession and move it back 15 yards, disrupting the game. And, so it's a bad deal, man. Bad deal.
Absolutely. And, Rusty, we got one quick thought before we get out of here. But before we do, let's get back to Bulldog Snacks. Listen, Bulldog Snacks fan pack. Purchase a fan pack now. Get entered to win a chance for you and 3 other people to go see a Georgia practice and get a VIP tour of Georgia facilities next month. Time's running out. So get in, get that fan pack. It comes with 36 bars, 10 cookies, 10 bags of cookies. It is tremendous. Check it out. Like I said, get a chance maybe to go see a Georgia practice. And listen, Georgia has put itself in position here, Rusty, an inside track at this here college football playoff that we like to talk about a lot. It still has the margins for error. It has 2 of the biggest wins in college football this season. And Rusty, I'm going to let you go. First, one quick thought here before we head out.
This team can win the national championship. This team can win the whole thing. They have enough pieces to win it all. And I think you saw tonight how they dominated a very good football team for about 80% of the game. Now, they're going to have to continue to get better, but Georgia's got enough pieces. They're well coached, and they've got to win this whole thing. And I truly believe that. I said that last Sunday on the Georgia show. I said right here that Georgia's got enough people to beat Texas, and don't listen to everything. They're going to have to play a complete game. They did play a complete game. They found a way to beat Texas on the road by 2 touchdowns. And it should have been worse. It should have been a couple things here. And give Texas credit, man. They fought back in that thing, made some plays. Still a really good football team, and Georgia likely may play them again. But I think there were just a lot of people. Seemed to me, man, like there's a lot of people kind of waiting on Georgia, to show a little bit of weakness, and they're going to pile on like this team and this is it for Kirby, and they peaked and all that. Well, not so fast for everybody on that 4-letter network. And I put a tweet out this morning, Georgia might as well get on a damn plane and go home because they don't have a chance. And if you don't think that Kirby Smart, and you saw him say that to that young lady in the interview, if you don't think that Kirby Smart and I'll bet you every ounce of everything I've got. Didn't mention in front of his team tonight the disrespect on a team that had won 50 games out of the last 53, and they only lost 3 to Alabama. They're 50-0 against everybody else. Don't think that he didn't bring that up. I guarantee you to this team and said, hey, you know, we worked too hard to get that, and this is who we are. We're not here. I love what he said. We're not here to take pictures. All those celebrities were there, and Kirby said, we're not here to take pictures. You didn't see any players taking pictures with anybody. So kudos to them, man. Huge win for Georgia. Still some stuff to do. A much, much deserved bye week. For us on Dawgs HQ, the Georgia staff's going to be on the road next week. Georgia landed the #1 defensive lineman in America yesterday. Talking about some good news. The #1 defensive lineman in America, Elijah Griffin out of Savannah, kind of jump-started this weekend. Man, it feels a lot better going a bye week with a win. With this, we're going to have tons of content. We got a lot more tonight, tomorrow. Guys, jump in on this flash sale. We got $1 for 7 days. Still believe that's up, Jake, promo. And you guys can jump in, read everything. Glad to have everyone here. Glad to have everybody here. But Georgia goes on the road and absolutely, for the most part, controlled Texas. Won a game by 2 touchdowns, 30-15.
All right, guys, we appreciate it. We appreciate Bulldog Snacks for presenting the show tonight. And we'll be back tomorrow night. Georgia show, Roots and Rusty will be with you, recapping this game, talking some more about it, and talking about some of the stuff we talk about between now and then. There's going to be a lot there. So we appreciate you, and y'all take care.